Discussion on verses 1 to 49 of 49. This chapter opens by drawing attention to a previous divine scripture, the Torah, which was revealed as a complete code of conduct for the children of Israel. Had it been accepted sincerely and implemented correctly, it would have ensured peace of mind on an individual level by cultivating balance between mental and physical states, and by enabling people to correctly prioritize responsibilities, relationships, and desires within their lives. On a societal level, it would have established justice through the fulfillment of rights and responsibilities, thereby fostering harmony and social stability. Chapter 52 at verses 1 to 3.
By the Mount Sinai, and by a book inscribed in parchment spread open,
by swearing an oath upon the place of revelation and the written scripture itself, Allah, the Exalted, emphasizes the gravity, authenticity, and authority of divine guidance. This opening sets the foundation for a broader and timeless truth, that guidance originating from Allah, the Exalted, alone possesses the capacity to regulate human life in a manner that ensures true well-being. In general, regardless of how advanced a society becomes, and irrespective of how much knowledge it accumulates across various disciplines, including psychology, medicine, sociology, and neuroscience, it remains impossible for human beings to formulate a comprehensive code of conduct that fully aligns with human nature while accounting for every circumstance, condition, and challenge that individuals and societies will face throughout their existence on Earth. Human knowledge is always evolving, incomplete, and subject to revision. Even today, people continue to discover new aspects of the human mind and body, such as the specific functions at different regions of the brain. If humanity has not yet fully understood its own biological and psychological makeup, then how can it claim the ability to design a flawless system of guidance, capable of producing lasting peace and justice? This limitation makes it fundamentally impossible for any human-made ideology or legal framework to consistently achieve inner tranquility on an individual level or fairness and stability on a societal level. Human systems are inevitably shaped by bias, cultural influence, political interest, and limited foresight. They may succeed temporarily or partially, but they cannot account for every variable of human behavior, nor can they prevent the emergence of injustice, confusion, and emotional distress. Only Allah, the Exalted, possesses the knowledge and authority required to provide such a code of conduct. As the creator of all things, his knowledge encompasses the entirety of existence, past, present, and future, without limitation or error. He alone fully understands human nature, desires, weaknesses, and potential. Therefore, he alone is rightly positioned to establish a standard that clearly distinguishes good from evil, beneficial from harmful, and truth from falsehood. This divine guidance enables individuals to navigate a life inevitably filled with pressure, uncertainty, and trials, while maintaining inner peace and moral clarity. History bears clear witness to this reality. Whenever divine guidance was sincerely embraced and applied in the lives of individuals, it produced societies characterized by justice, compassion, and stability. Where it was neglected, altered, or selectively followed, confusion and oppression inevitably followed. This pattern has repeated itself across generations, serving as undeniable evidence of the superiority of divine guidance over human invention. For this reason, individuals must recognize the divine code of conduct granted to them as the most beneficial path for their well-being, even when certain teachings conflict with personal desires or immediate gratification. Wisdom demands submission to what is ultimately beneficial, not what merely feels comfortable. Such a person resembles a sensible patient who accepts and follows the medical advice of a skilled doctor. Even when prescribed bitter medicine or a strict and inconvenient treatment plan, the patient complies, not out of blind obedience, but out of understanding that the outcome is healing and long-term health. Likewise, sincere acceptance of divine guidance, though it may require restraint, discipline, and sacrifice, leads to genuine balance, inner peace, and societal harmony. In this submission lies true freedom, freedom from confusion, destructive desire, and the endless trial and error of human-made systems. Next, Allah the Exalted draws attention to further signs within creation that not only affirm his absolute oneness but also demonstrate his complete authority and control over every realm of existence, from the skies to the earth. These signs remind people that nothing operates independently of his will or power. Chapter 52 Ad-Dariyat, verse 4.
And by the frequented house.
This verse is understood to be a reference to the house of Allah, the Exalted, located in the seventh heaven. During the final years of his stay in Mecca, before migrating to Medina, the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, was honored with the miraculous heavenly journey. During this journey, he encountered the Holy Prophet Ibrahim, peace be upon him, and witnessed him resting against this sacred house in the seventh heaven, known as the Bayt al-Mamur. This heavenly house is positioned directly above the Kaaba on earth, establishing a profound connection between worship in the skies and worship on the ground. The sanctity of this house is immense. Each day, 70,000 angels enter it to worship Allah, the Exalted, and to circumambulate it. Once they depart, they will never return to it again until Judgment Day. This reality illustrates not only the vastness of creation, but also the precision, order, and discipline that govern it. This account has been recorded in Imam Ibn Kathir's The Life of the Holy Prophet, Volume 2, page 66. The existence of this heavenly house stands as a powerful sign of the absolute sovereignty of Allah, the Exalted. It reflects a universe structured upon obedience, order, and constant devotion. Countless angels, free from desire and heedlessness, continuously fulfill their role as servants of Allah, the Exalted, without hesitation or fatigue. Their unwavering worship highlights that every level of creation, visible and unseen, operates in submission to His command. This reality serves as a profound lesson for humanity. While people are granted free will and choice, the rest of creation testifies unceasingly to the authority and perfection of Allah, the Exalted. The frequented house in the skies mirrors the sacred house on earth, reminding people that worship is not limited by place or time, and that obedience to Allah, the Exalted, is the central purpose shared by all creation. Through such signs, Allah, the Exalted, invites people to reflect upon His greatness, recognize their place within His creation, and willingly return to a life of conscious devotion and humility. After drawing attention to a specific and exalted sign within the skies, Allah, the Exalted, then directs attention to the heavens in their entirety. This shift from the particular to the general further reinforces His absolute oneness, and highlights that He alone deserves complete obedience at all times. Chapter 52 At-Tur, verse 5.
And by the roof raised high.
The heavens are described as a raised roof, not only due to their vastness and elevation, but also because of their protective and sustaining role for life on earth. This imagery invites deep reflection. When human beings construct even the simplest building, careful planning and precise design are required. Structural supports such as pillars, beams, and foundations must be strategically positioned to ensure stability, safety, and longevity. No rational person would believe that a secure and functional building could emerge from randomness or accident. If such deliberate planning is essential for a modest human structure, how can it be reasonable to assume that the immense, perfectly ordered system of the heavens and the earth came into existence without purpose, design, or intention? Had the heavens and the earth arisen by chance, their structure would inevitably be flawed, unstable, and hazardous. Yet the universe operates with remarkable precision, balance, and consistency, sustaining life in a manner that remains reliable and predictable. This undeniable harmony points directly to meticulous planning and absolute control by a single creator, Allah, the Exalted. Chapter 13 Ar-Ra'd, verse 2.
It is Allah who erected the heavens without pillars that you can see.
This verse draws attention to a phenomenon that surpasses human capability and understanding. The skies remain suspended without visible support, maintained by forces placed and governed by Allah, the Exalted. What humans require pillars and foundations to achieve, Allah, the Exalted, accomplishes effortlessly through His command alone. The absence of visible pillars does not indicate disorder. Rather, it highlights a higher level of design, one that operates beyond human perception and comprehension. Together, these verses establish a clear and compelling argument The heavens are not only a sign of Allah's presence, but a continuous testimony to His wisdom, power, and authority. Their stability, vastness, and purpose serve as a silent yet constant reminder that the universe is not self-sustaining nor self-governing. Instead, it is upheld by the will of Allah, the Exalted, who alone deserves obedience, gratitude, and submission from those who reflect upon His signs with sincerity and humility. After drawing attention to the skies, Allah, the Exalted, shifts the focus to the earth, specifically to the seas and oceans. These vast bodies of water stand as powerful signs of His wisdom, precision, and continuous management of creation. Chapter 52 at verse 6.
And by the sea filled.
A thoughtful observation of the Earth's water systems clearly indicates deliberate design rather than chance. The water cycle operates with remarkable balance and precision. Water evaporates from the seas, rises into the atmosphere, condenses, and then returns to the earth as rain. This rain is naturally acidic, yet when it falls upon the mountains, it is purified and neutralized. Through this process, it becomes suitable for drinking, farming, and sustaining both human and animal life. Any significant disruption to this finely tuned system would result in severe consequences, such as droughts, floods, famine, or the collapse of ecosystems. This balance could not exist without constant control and planning by a wise creator. The seas themselves are also perfectly designed. The salt within the oceans serves a crucial function. It prevents the contamination of seawater by the countless dead organisms within it. If the oceans were fresh, decay would rapidly pollute the water, making marine life impossible and eventually threatening life on land as well. Thus, saltwater preserves the health of marine ecosystems and protects the earth from widespread corruption. Moreover, the physical properties of water are calibrated with astonishing precision. Seawater has been created in such a way that marine life can thrive within it, while massive ships are able to float and travel across its surface. A slight alteration in the composition or density of water would disrupt this balance. Either sea life would struggle to survive, or ships would no longer be able to sail. Yet both are made possible simultaneously through divine design. Even today, maritime transport remains the most widely used method for transporting goods across the globe, underscoring how essential this balance is to human civilization. Rain itself is also sent down in exact proportion. Too little rain results in drought, famine, and hardship, while too much rain leads to destructive floods. Chapter 23 Al-Mu'minun, verse 18.
And we have sent down rain from the sky in a measured amount and settled it in the earth. And indeed, we are able to take it away.
And chapter 25 Al-Furqan, verse 53.
And it is He who has released simultaneously the two seas, one fresh and sweet and one salty and bitter, and He placed between them a barrier and prohibiting partition.
This verse highlights a profound marvel of creation, the coexistence of fresh and salt water, each fulfilling a distinct and essential role while remaining separated by a divinely ordained barrier. Fresh water, found in rivers, streams, and underground reserves, is indispensable for drinking, agriculture, and sustaining land-based life. Salt water, found in seas and oceans, preserves marine ecosystems and prevents large-scale contamination. Were these two waters to merge freely without regulation, the balance of life on Earth would collapse. Mountains play a vital role within this system as well. They act as natural reservoirs, storing and filtering rainwater before releasing it gradually through rivers and springs. This ensures a continuous and reliable supply of purified fresh water, strategically distributed across the Earth. At the same time, this fresh water remains distinct from the salty waters of the oceans, allowing each to serve its unique purpose without interference. The wisdom behind this arrangement is unmistakable. Fresh water sustains life on land, while salt water sustains life in the seas and safeguards the planet from widespread decay. Their separation, regulation, and balance are not accidental, nor are they the result of competing forces. Rather, they are clear signs of a single creator who governs all things with knowledge, power, and precision. These interconnected systems, the seas, rain, mountains, and rivers, stand as compelling testimony to the oneness of Allah, the Exalted. They demonstrate that the universe operates under a unified and deliberate order. Just as the natural world can only function when it adheres to divine laws, Human life too can only achieve balance, stability, and peace when it is lived in accordance with the divine code of conduct established by Allah, the Exalted. These signs call people to reflect deeply, act with gratitude, and submit willingly to the wisdom of the One who has perfected all things. Despite the countless signs within the universe which indicate oneness of Allah, the Exalted, and how He alone must be obeyed, many people persist on disobeying Him by misusing the blessings He has granted them, as His obedience often contradicts their worldly desires and aspirations. As a result, they will obtain an unbalanced mental and physical state, and misplace everything and everyone within their life. This will lead to stress, trouble, and difficulties, even if they enjoy some worldly luxuries. And as their attitude prevented them from preparing for their accountability on Judgment Day, their punishment in the hereafter will be far worse. Chapter 52 at verses 7 to 12.
Indeed, the punishment of your Lord will occur. Of it there is no preventer. On the day the heaven will sway with circular motion, and the mountains will pass on, departing. Then woe that day to the deniers, who are in vain activities amusing themselves.
One of the major reasons people become deeply immersed in vain and distracting activities, which turn them away from obedience to Allah, the Exalted, is the blind imitation of majority behavior within society. When individuals observe that most people around them engage in certain actions or lifestyles, they may assume that such behavior must be correct simply because it is widespread. As a result, they follow others without reflection, analysis, or sincere consideration of whether those actions align with obedience to Allah, the Exalted. However, the behavior of the majority is not a reliable measure of truth. History clearly demonstrates that widely accepted beliefs have often been proven false when examined in the light of evidence and sound reasoning. A well-known example is the former widespread belief that the earth was flat, a view once held by the majority yet later disproven. This illustrates that numerical dominance does not equate to correctness, whether in worldly matters or spiritual ones. Unthinking conformity reduces individuals to acting like cattle, following wherever the crowd leads without understanding or purpose. Such behavior frequently results in poor decisions that harm both worldly life and the hereafter. Chapter 6 Al-An'am, verse 116.
And if you obey most of those upon the earth, they will mislead you from the way of Allah. They follow not except assumption, and they are not but guessing.
Instead of surrendering intellect to popular opinion, individuals are encouraged to use the reasoning and understanding bestowed upon them. Each situation should be evaluated on the basis of sound knowledge, evidence, and reflection, even if the conclusion reached differs from what is socially popular or widely accepted. For this reason, the religion strongly condemns blind imitation in matters of belief and practice. It urges persons to seek understanding, learn with clarity, and act upon teachings with awareness and conviction, rather than merely copying the actions of others. Through this conscious and thoughtful approach, individuals are better protected from misguidance and are more likely to remain steadfast in obedience to Allah, the Exalted. Chapter 12 Yusuf, verse 108.
Say, this is my way, I invite to Allah with insight, I and those who follow me.
If a person fails to employ sound judgment and instead blindly follows others, that individual will inevitably misuse the blessings granted to them, and will suffer the consequences in both this world and the next. When intellect and accountability are abandoned in favor of imitation, responsibility for one's actions is not removed. Every blessing entrusted to a person will be questioned, and misuse will lead to recompense. Chapter 52 at verses 13 to 16.
The day they are thrust toward the fire of hell with a violent thrust. This is the fire which you used to deny. Then is this magic, or do you not see? Burn therein, then be patient or impatient, it is all the same for you. You are only being recompensed for what you used to do.
One of the primary reasons the realities of the next life, such as the Day of Judgment and Hell, are described with such clarity and intensity in religious teachings, is to dismantle the false beliefs adopted by earlier communities. These communities belittled these realities, treated them lightly, and even mocked them. This attitude stemmed from wishful thinking, whereby people persisted in disobedience to Allah, the Exalted, while convincing themselves that they would still achieve success in both worlds. These false assumptions appeared in many forms. Some believed salvation would be guaranteed through the intercession of a righteous individual without personal reform. Others assumed that a verbal claim alone would suffice, regardless of conduct. There were also those who presumed that excuses or last-moment repentance would automatically be accepted on the day of judgment, irrespective of a lifetime of wrongdoing. Another widespread misconception was the belief that punishment in the next life would be mild and comparable to worldly consequences. All of these notions encouraged complacency and emboldened continued disobedience. To eradicate such dangerous misunderstandings, religious teachings present the realities of the next life in detailed and unmistakable terms. These descriptions are meant to impress upon people the seriousness of accountability and to prompt genuine preparation through conscious action and moral discipline. The aim of these warnings is not to instill despair, but to awaken hearts to truth and to motivate sincere obedience to Allah, the Exalted. Such obedience involves correctly utilizing the blessings granted by Him in ways pleasing to Him, as outlined in the Holy Quran and the traditions of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. When these teachings are properly understood and internalized, a person is protected from complacency, safeguarded against false hopes, and guided toward a life rooted in sincerity, balance, and accountability. Through this approach, individuals are better equipped to achieve safety from punishment and success in both worlds, by maintaining a sound mental and physical state, and by placing every aspect of life, people, priorities, and actions in their proper and rightful position. Chapter 52 at Tur, verses 17 to 21.
Indeed, the righteous will be in gardens and pleasure, enjoying what their Lord has given them, and their Lord protected them from the punishment of hellfire. They will be told, "Eat and drink in satisfaction for what you used to do." They will be reclining on thrones lined up, and we will marry them to fair women with large, beautiful eyes. And those who believed and whose descendants followed them in faith, we will join with them their descendants, and we will not deprive them of anything of their deeds.
It is important to recognize that these verses, like many others, clearly demonstrate that no person can rely on the good deeds, status, or righteousness of another to secure peace of mind in both this world and the next. Responsibility before Allah, the Exalted, is entirely personal. Even the closest familial relationships to holy prophets, peace be upon them, provided no immunity from accountability. Chapter 66 at Tarim, verse 10.
Allah presents an example of those who disbelieved, the wife of Noah and the wife of Lot. They were under two of our righteous servants but betrayed them, so they, i.e. those prophets, did not avail them from Allah at all, and it was said, "Enter the fire with those who enter."
This example makes it unmistakably clear that proximity to righteousness, association with the pious, or closeness to divinely chosen individuals does not guarantee salvation. What is required is personal obedience, sincerity, and accountability. Chapter 52 at Tur, verse 21.
Every person, for what he earned, is retained.
Each individual is therefore bound by their own actions and choices, not by lineage, companionship, or association. Unfortunately, many persons have adopted a similar misunderstanding, assuming that the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, will shield them from punishment regardless of how they live. While his intercession is firmly established in authentic teachings, it is also clearly affirmed that some persons who acknowledge the Holy Quran will still face punishment. The mere possibility of even a brief exposure to hell is unbearable, which highlights the danger of complacency and false security. Wishful thinking does not honor the intercession of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, rather it undermines it. Such an attitude may even lead to exclusion from that intercession altogether. More alarming still is the warning that he may testify against those who neglected and abandoned the Holy Quran. Chapter 25 Al-Furqan, verse 30.
And the Messenger has said, "O my Lord, indeed my people have taken this Quran as a thing abandoned."
This statement applies specifically to those who acknowledge the Holy Quran, as only they can be guilty of abandoning it. The outcome for those against whom the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, bears witness on the Day of Judgment is self-evident and deeply serious. For this reason, it is essential to reject wishful thinking and replace it with sincere hope grounded in obedience to Allah, the Exalted. True hope is demonstrated through action, not assumption. It requires the careful and wise use of the blessings granted by Allah, the Exalted, in ways that align with the guidance found in the Holy Quran and the traditions of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. Only by following this path can a person attain genuine peace of mind in both worlds, maintain balance in mental and physical states, and correctly place every responsibility, relationship, and priority within life according to its rightful position. Chapter 52 at verses 22 to 26.
And we will provide them with fruit and meat, from whatever they desire. They will exchange with one another a cup, no ill speech or commission of sin. There will circulate among them servant boys especially for them, as if they were pearls well protected. And they will approach one another, inquiring of each other. They will say, "Indeed, we were previously among our people fearful."
These verses highlight the importance of avoiding complacency and self-assurance regarding peace of mind and salvation in the next life, even for those who strive to remain steadfast in obedience to Allah, the Exalted. No person should assume acceptance or success solely on the basis of outward obedience. Instead, a balanced inner state is required, one that combines fear and hope in equal measure. This necessary balance involves maintaining a sincere fear that one's good deeds may not be accepted due to hidden deficiencies, such as insincerity, heedlessness, or improper intention. It also includes the awareness that accumulated sins may outweigh good deeds if left unaddressed. At the same time, this fear must be accompanied by genuine hope in the mercy of Allah, the Exalted, for despair is equally destructive. Fear without hope leads to hopelessness, while hope without fear leads to negligence. When fear and hope are held together in balance, they serve as powerful motivators for consistent obedience. This balance encourages a person to remain vigilant, humble, and sincere while continuing to use the blessings granted by Allah, the Exalted, in a manner pleasing to Him. Such an approach aligns with the guidance found in the Holy Quran and the traditions of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. This balanced state ultimately produces peace of mind in both worlds. It nurtures mental and physical stability, protects against arrogance and despair, and enables a person to place every responsibility, relationship, and priority in its correct position within life. Through this equilibrium, obedience becomes sustained, meaningful, and rooted in awareness rather than assumption. Chapter 52 at verses 27 to 28.
So Allah conferred favor upon us, and protected us from the punishment of the scorching fire. Indeed, we used to supplicate Him before. Indeed, it is He who is the Beneficent, the Merciful.
To achieve the state of balance, peace of mind, and proper alignment in life, a person must adhere to the divine code of conduct that Allah, the Exalted, commanded His Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, to teach and remind people of. Chapter 52 at verse 29.
So remind.
In this verse, divine revelation is referred to as a reminder. Islamic teachings, as conveyed through revelation, serve as a perpetual reminder for all people, for they are crafted in perfect harmony with human nature. Any system of conduct that contradicts the innate disposition of humanity inevitably feels foreign. When individuals attempt to follow such systems, they often experience mental unrest, physical strain, and inner conflict. By contrast, Islamic teachings are divinely designed to correspond with the natural essence of humanity. As a result, they feel inherently familiar, nurturing a sense of balance in both the mental and physical states. This intrinsic resonance is particularly noticeable among those who embrace Islam after previously following another religion or way of life. Many converts testify that the principles of Islam resonate deeply within them, even before extensive study, as though they are rediscovering truths already inscribed upon their hearts. This phenomenon occurs because Islam does not impose an artificial or alien framework upon humanity. Rather, it restores each person to the state upon which Allah, the Exalted, has created them. In contrast, other systems often introduce rules and expectations that clash with human nature, leading to inner dissonance, imbalance, and dissatisfaction. However, This inherent harmony may remain unnoticed unless a person approaches Islamic teachings with sincerity, openness, and impartiality. Prejudice, arrogance, or blind attachment to inherited traditions can obscure the recognition of the alignment between revelation and human disposition. When the heart is open and sincere, divine guidance is experienced not as a burden, limitation, or imposition, but as a reminder that restores balance, fosters tranquility, and directs humanity toward its true purpose. In this sense, revelation functions both as a mirror and a compass. It acts as a mirror by reflecting the innate truth already present within the human soul, and as a compass by guiding it toward peace of mind in both worlds. This peace is achieved through maintaining a balanced mental and physical state, and by correctly placing every responsibility, relationship, and priority in its rightful position within life. In following this divine guidance, a person experiences clarity, harmony, and a purposeful existence aligned with the blessings granted by Allah, the Exalted. The leaders of the non-Muslims of Mecca employed various strategies to discourage others from accepting Islam, motivated by fear of losing their leadership, social influence, and status within society. One prominent method was to slander the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, and the Holy Quran, attempting to portray both as the work of a soothsayer or a deceiver. Chapter 52 at verse 29.
For you are not, by the favor of your Lord, a soothsayer or a madman.
This attitude was not only unfounded but also foolish. The non-Muslims of Mecca, being skilled in the Arabic language, were fully capable of recognizing that the eloquence, wisdom, and profound guidance of the Holy Quran could not originate from a human being. Furthermore, having observed the character of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, for 40 years prior to his announcement of prophethood, they were well aware that he was neither a deceiver nor one given to falsehood. Chapter 10 Yunus, verse 16.
For I had remained among you a lifetime before it. Then will you not reason?
This verse highlights the expectation that people should employ intellect and reflection when evaluating truth. The knowledge that the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, had no prior access to previous divine scriptures reinforces the authenticity of the Holy Quran. Because he had not studied or consulted the earlier texts, whether in their original or modified forms, he could not have composed its teachings through imitation. This reality, known to both the people of the book and the non-Muslims of Mecca, further substantiates the divine origin of the Holy Quran. Chapter 29 Al-Ankabut, verse 48.
And you did not recite before it any scripture, nor did you inscribe one with your right hand. Then, i.e., otherwise the falsifiers would have had cause for doubt.
This verse underscores that the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, had no prior access to written revelation that could explain the profound nature of the Holy Quran. The miraculous composition of the text, its unmatched guidance, and its perfect alignment with human nature collectively affirm that it is a divine message. When their attempts to slander the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, failed, the leaders of the non-Muslims of Mecca adopted wishful thinking. They falsely assumed that the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, and the message he brought would eventually fade with time, like passing social trends or popular opinions. Chapter 52 at verse 30.
Or do they say of you, a poet for whom we await a misfortune of time?
History, however, demonstrates the futility of such assumptions. Throughout the centuries, individuals, groups, institutions, and even entire systems have attempted to erase Islam from society. Political pressure, military force, propaganda, cultural manipulation, and, in modern times, social media campaigns have all been employed in these efforts. Yet Islam remains firm and unshaken, enduring through time and standing resilient until the Day of Judgment. The attempts to extinguish it are as futile as trying to blow out the sun with mere breath. Chapter 52 at verse 31.
Say, wait, for indeed I am with you among the waiters.
And chapter 9 at Tawbah, verse 32.
They want to extinguish the light of Allah with their mouths, but Allah refuses except to perfect His light, although the disbelievers dislike it.
The light of Islam has been perfected, preserved, and delivered to humanity. It is available to every person who sincerely seeks guidance, irrespective of nation, ethnicity, or social class. Its universality ensures that the message of clarity, purpose, and truth is accessible to all. This divine light has been manifested openly through revelation, safeguarded through an unbroken chain of transmission, and demonstrated through the life and conduct of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. The teachings of Islam address every dimension of human existence: spiritual, moral, social, and intellectual. They provide a comprehensive framework for attaining inner stability, outward righteousness, and a balanced life. Each individual bears the responsibility of deciding whether to learn, internalize, and act upon this guidance. By doing so, a person is able to correctly utilize the blessings granted by Allah the Exalted, maintain balance in their mental and physical state, and place every responsibility, priority, and relationship in its rightful position. In this way, they prepare for accountability on the Day of Judgment. Chapter 48 Al-Fath, verse 28.
It is He who sent His messenger with guidance, and the religion of truth to manifest it over all religion.
This verse emphasizes that the manifestation of Islam is not a historical occurrence confined to a specific period. Rather, it is an ongoing reality. The religion of truth has been established with clarity, completeness, and permanence, ensuring that no falsehood or competing ideology can surpass it. Its guidance remains timeless, addressing the needs of every generation, society, and circumstance, whether in times of simplicity or complexity, scarcity or abundance, peace or turmoil. Importantly, the manifestation of Islam over other ways of life does not imply coercion. Its superiority lies in the truth of its guidance, the purity of its message, and the transformative power it holds for those who sincerely embrace it. Islam prevails through the strength of its reasoning, the beauty of its ethics, the depth of its spirituality, and the authenticity of its followers. Where it is presented and practiced sincerely, hearts are drawn to it naturally, as truth resonates with the human soul. Thus, Islam's availability is both a mercy and a responsibility. It is a mercy because it provides every person the opportunity to attain inner peace, moral clarity, and eternal success. It is a responsibility because each individual must actively choose whether to accept or ignore this guidance. Those who embrace it will find their lives illuminated by purpose, direction, and balance, while those who turn away deprive themselves of the very light sent for their benefit. In this way, the manifestation of Islam serves as a testament to Allah's compassion for humanity, offering a clear path for all who sincerely seek to walk it, achieve peace of mind in both worlds, and correctly place everything and everyone within their life. But as the obedience to Allah, the Exalted, often conflicts with the worldly desires and ambitions of people, despite the clear signs that indicate the truthfulness of Islam, many persist in disobedience, driven by attachment to transient gains. Chapter 52 At-Tur, verse 32.
Or do their minds command them to say this, or are they a transgressing people?
When a person becomes consumed by worldly desires, their actions are no longer guided by clarity, reason, or self-restraint. While their hearing, sight, and intellect remain physically intact, their spiritual and moral faculties become ineffective. These faculties, designed to recognize truth, reflect on consequences, and regulate behavior, are instead overpowered by the constant urge to satisfy desire. In this state, desire becomes the master, and the person becomes its servant. This condition is analogous to the state of a drug addict. An addict does not intend to lose control, yet once addiction takes hold, it overrides rational thought and moral judgment. The addict may lie, steal, or harm others, not out of ignorance of consequences, but because the craving has become stronger than their ethical awareness. The addiction blinds them to the harm caused both to themselves and to others. Similarly, excessive attachment to worldly desires, whether for wealth, status, pleasure, or recognition, produces the same effect. When unchecked, desire gradually intensifies until it becomes an addiction of the heart. At this point, a person may justify harmful actions, overlook moral boundaries, and ignore long-term consequences. Health, relationships, and peace of mind may all be sacrificed in pursuit of something that can never truly satisfy. In such a state, the person's faculties fail in their intended purpose, Hearing no longer absorbs beneficial reminders, sight no longer recognizes signs, and intellect no longer guides toward what is right. For this reason, Islamic teachings emphasize the regulation of desire rather than its total suppression. Desires are natural and necessary, but when pursued without moderation and discipline, they distort perception, cloud judgment, and lead to moral decline. A person who allows desires to dominate their life is at risk of engaging in harmful actions and experiencing mental and physical imbalance. Stress, anxiety, restlessness, and dissatisfaction become constant companions because the heart was never designed to find tranquility in unrestrained indulgence. By contrast, a person who disciplines their desires and pursues only what is lawful, and even then in moderation, maintains clarity, mental stability, and inner peace. Their faculties function as intended. Hearing absorbs beneficial reminders, sight recognizes guidance, and intellect reflects upon consequences and directs purposeful action. This balanced approach protects a person from the destructive cycle of addiction, whether to substances, wealth, status, or any other worldly pursuit. The true danger lies not in desire itself, but in the absence of discipline. When desires rule the heart, guidance is obscured. When discipline rules the heart, desires fall into their proper place. In this state, a person is able to correctly use the blessings granted by Allah, the Exalted, achieve balance in mental and physical states, and place every responsibility, priority, and relationship in its rightful position within life. This balance ultimately leads to clarity, stability, and lasting peace, providing a framework for genuine obedience, purposeful living, and preparation for accountability on the Day of Judgment. The leaders of the non-Muslims of Mecca employed various methods to discourage others from accepting Islam, motivated by fear of losing their leadership, social influence, and societal status. One such method was the false claim that the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, authored the Holy Quran. Chapter 52 at verse 33.
Or do they say he has made it up?
This claim was both unfounded and foolish. The non-Muslims of Mecca, being highly skilled in the Arabic language and renowned for their eloquence, recognized that the Holy Quran could not be the work of a human being. Despite their linguistic expertise and deep familiarity with Arabic expression, they were incapable of producing even a single composition comparable to the Holy Quran in clarity, profundity of meaning, and perfection of guidance. Their inability to replicate its depth and eloquence, despite having every conceivable advantage, stands as permanent and incontrovertible evidence of its divine origin. Chapter 52 at verse 34.
Then let them produce a statement like it, if they should be truthful.
Even if a person were to attain the highest level of human eloquence, their words could never match the wisdom of the Holy Quran, particularly in its understanding of the human psyche and cultivation of moral excellence. No human composition can replicate the Holy Quran's perfect balance between simplicity and depth. Its meanings challenge the most accomplished scholars, while remaining sufficiently clear for any sincere seeker to apply in daily life. It conveys profound and abstract realities in a form that is simultaneously practical and universally applicable, penetrating the depths of human nature and providing a timeless system of guidance relevant to every individual, society, and era. Every verse of the Holy Quran bears witness to its divine origin through unmatched precision and eloquence, unlike other writings, which may contain inconsistencies or contradictions. It is fully protected from error by Allah, the Exalted. It provides accurate and flawless accounts of past nations, even though it was revealed through the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, who had no formal instruction in history or access to prior scriptures. The Holy Quran functions as a comprehensive guide for the betterment of humanity, enjoining all that sustains life and prohibiting all that causes harm. It establishes justice and balance both within the individual and the wider community, free from the excesses associated with myth, poetry, or personal interpretation. Each verse is purposeful and life-giving, offering new layers of meaning and wisdom through repeated reflection and recitation. The Holy Quran grounds its promises and warnings in reason, translating virtues such as patience, compassion, and justice into attainable practice. It calls humanity to comprehend the fundamental purpose of existence, to serve Allah, the Exalted, with sincerity, employing every blessing He has granted in the pursuit of His pleasure. Through such devoted obedience, individuals attain inner peace and true success in both this world and the hereafter, achieving a balanced state in which mind, body, and soul operate in proper harmony. For those seeking enduring fulfillment, the Holy Quran illuminates the straight path with unmatched clarity and refinement. Its guidance is perfectly attuned to human nature, remaining timeless and applicable across all societies and generations. When sincerely accepted and practically implemented, the Holy Quran provides comprehensive solutions for every dimension of human life. It addresses emotional, financial, and physical challenges while harmonizing individual needs with the welfare of society as a whole. History bears testimony to the transformative power of these teachings, as communities that faithfully upheld its message rose to remarkable heights of justice, wisdom, and collective tranquility. Among the most striking signs of its miraculous preservation is the safeguarding of its text. Across centuries, not a single letter has been altered, for Allah, the Exalted, has promised to protect it forever. Chapter 15 Al-Hijr, verse 9.
Indeed, it is we who sent down the message, i.e. the Quran, and indeed we will be its guardian.
No other work in human history possesses such a distinction. The Holy Quran addresses the deepest and most persistent challenges faced by every civilization, offering solutions that are both decisive and enduring. By confronting foundational issues, it prevents or resolves the multitude of secondary problems that naturally arise from them. This demonstrates the perfection and comprehensiveness of its guidance, encompassing every principle essential for the well-being, stability, and moral development of individuals and society. Through sincere adherence to its teachings, humanity attains true success in this world and secures everlasting salvation in the hereafter. Chapter 16 and now, verse 89.
And we have sent down to you the book as clarification for all things.
This constitutes the most significant and enduring miracle bestowed by Allah, the Exalted, upon His final messenger, the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. The profound guidance and immense benefits of the Holy Quran remain accessible only to those who approach it with sincerity, humility, and a genuine pursuit of truth. Those who allow personal inclinations, biases, or worldly desires to govern their engagement, embracing only what aligns with their preferences while neglecting or resisting what challenges them, become progressively alienated from its transformative influence. Such selective submission leads to confusion, failure, and deep regret, both in this life and in the hereafter. The Holy Quran, therefore, remains the eternal and comprehensive guidance for all who seek clarity, purpose, and success, offering a path through which every individual can attain balance, moral excellence, and peace in both worlds. Chapter 17 Al-Isra, verse 82.
And we send down of the Quran that which is healing and mercy for the believers, but it does not increase the wrongdoers except in loss.
Allah, the Exalted, then presents another decisive proof of His oneness and of why He alone deserves obedience in every circumstance. This proof appeals directly to reason and reflection. Chapter 52 At-Tur, verse 35.
Or were they created by nothing, or were they the creators of themselves?
This verse challenges the human intellect with a clear and unavoidable question. A person who reflects honestly upon their own existence cannot reasonably conclude that they came into being from nothing, nor that they created themselves. Both possibilities contradict sound reason and observable reality. Anyone who examines the human body with an open and unbiased mind will recognize that its precise composition could not have arisen without intention, knowledge, and power. The intricate balance of organs, bones, senses, and interconnected systems demonstrates deliberate design. Each component performs a specific function, and every function is dependent upon countless others operating in harmony. If even a simple object or structure cannot be designed, constructed, and maintained without a planner and caretaker, it is far more unreasonable to believe that the human being, with complex physical, mental, and emotional dimensions, exists without a creator and sustainer. The human body operates through innumerable interdependent processes that must remain in constant balance for life to continue. Breathing, circulation, digestion, perception, thought, and emotional regulation all occur simultaneously and continuously, often without conscious effort. A minor disruption in any of these systems can result in illness, disability, or death. This fragility further highlights the necessity of continuous control and maintenance beyond human capability. Such reflection leads to the unavoidable conclusion that human existence is not the product of chance nor self-origination, but the result of deliberate creation and ongoing care by Allah the Exalted. Recognizing this reality naturally necessitates obedience to Him alone. Since He is the creator, sustainer, and maintainer of life, He alone has the right to be obeyed, relied upon, and worshipped. Through this understanding, a person is guided toward humility, gratitude, and responsible use of the blessings entrusted to them, thereby achieving clarity, balance, and peace of mind in both worlds by maintaining a balanced mental and physical state, and by correctly placing everything and everyone within their life. When a person observes the creation of the skies and the earth, along with the countless systems operating within them in perfect balance, it becomes evident that there is only one creator and sustainer of the universe. Such order, precision, and harmony cannot reasonably be attributed to randomness or chance. Chapter 52 at verse 36.
Or did they create the heavens and the earth?
This question invites deep reflection. The universe operates according to exact laws and finely tuned conditions that make life possible. For example, the earth exists at a precise and balanced distance from the sun. Were it even slightly closer, extreme heat would render life impossible. Were it slightly farther, intense cold would do the same. This delicate positioning is not accidental, but essential for habitation. Likewise, the water cycle operates with remarkable balance. Water evaporates from the oceans, rises into the atmosphere, condenses, and returns to the earth as rain in measured amounts. This process sustains plant life, replenishes freshwater sources, and supports all living beings. Any significant disruption to this system would result in drought, flooding, or the collapse of ecosystems, making life unsustainable. The earth itself has been fashioned with similar precision. The soil is balanced in such a way that delicate roots, shoots, and seedlings are able to penetrate it and grow into crops that nourish creation. At the same time, the ground possesses sufficient strength and stability to support heavy structures and withstand immense pressure. This balance between softness and firmness further reflects intentional design and careful planning. These examples, along with countless others, clearly point to the oneness of Allah the Exalted and to His perfect wisdom, knowledge, and power. Such signs demand gratitude, humility, and obedience from people. Recognizing these blessings should lead a person to live responsibly and to use the faculties granted to them in a way that aligns with reason and moral uprightness. However, because acknowledging this truth often conflicts with worldly desires and personal ambitions, many persist in disobedience. Instead of responding with gratitude and submission, they turn away from reflection and accountability. As a result, they fail to behave in a reasonable and upright manner, not due to a lack of evidence, but due to a refusal to use their faculties correctly. Their hearing, sight, and intellect remain present, yet they are not applied to understanding truth, reflecting upon consequences, or recognizing the clear signs embedded throughout creation. Chapter 52 at verse 36.
Rather, they failed to use their faculties correctly, applying reason and common sense in order to understand.
Allah, the Exalted, further criticizes those who persist in disobedience by reminding them of their complete lack of control over His limitless blessings. This reminder exposes the false sense of independence and authority that leads people to arrogance and neglect of accountability. Chapter 52 at verse 37.
Or have they the depositories of your Lord? Or are they the controllers?
Despite this reality, some behave as though they are self-sufficient and unaccountable, acting upon desires and impulses while ignoring moral responsibility. This illusion of control leads to disobedience, as people assume that consequences can be avoided or delayed indefinitely. However, lacking ownership of divine blessings also means lacking the power to escape accountability. Since people do not control life, death, provision, or outcome, they cannot prevent recompense in either this world or the next. Recognizing this truth should produce humility and restraint. A person who understands that they are not the owner of blessings, but merely a trustee, will act with responsibility, gratitude, and obedience. Such awareness encourages careful use of every blessing, wealth, time, health, influence, and knowledge, in a manner pleasing to Allah the Exalted, and leads to peace of mind in both worlds, through obtaining a balanced mental and physical state, and through correctly placing everything and everyone within their life. Allah the Exalted then criticizes those who reject or neglect the divine code of conduct He has provided, choosing instead to pursue flawed man-made systems while behaving as though their chosen systems are perfect and founded upon superior knowledge. This attitude reflects arrogance, as if such people believe they possess access to unseen truths or divine authority. Chapter 52 at verse 38.
Or have they a stairway into the heaven upon which they listen? Then let their listener produce a clear authority.
This verse highlights the absurdity of claiming certainty and perfection in human-devised systems without divine insight. Regardless of how advanced a society may become, and irrespective of the knowledge it acquires across various fields, it remains impossible for human beings to formulate a code of conduct that is fully aligned with human nature and capable of addressing every circumstance individuals and societies may face throughout their existence on Earth. Human understanding is inherently limited and continuously evolving. Even in areas where significant progress has been made, such as the study of mental and physical aspects of human life, new discoveries constantly revise previous assumptions. Humanity continues to uncover basic insights into specific functions of the human body and mind, such as the workings at different regions of the brain. Given these limitations, it is unreasonable to assume that people could produce a flawless and comprehensive system, capable of fostering lasting tranquility, justice, and balance at both the individual and societal levels. Only Allah, the Exalted, possesses the ability to provide such a complete and perfect code of conduct. As the creator of all things, His knowledge encompasses the past, present, and future in their entirety. Nothing is hidden from Him, and nothing escapes His wisdom. For this reason, He alone is qualified to define a standard that clearly distinguishes good from evil, beneficial from harmful, and guidance from misguidance. This divine standard offers a framework through which individuals can attain peace of mind in a life otherwise filled with uncertainty, stress, and conflict. History provides clear evidence that when this divine code of conduct is sincerely implemented in the lives of individuals and within society, it results in the spread of justice, tranquility, and social stability. Conversely, when human desires and flawed reasoning replace divine guidance, confusion, injustice, and unrest inevitably follow. For this reason, individuals are encouraged to embrace the divine code of conduct provided by Allah, the Exalted, recognizing it as the most beneficial path for their well-being, even when certain aspects conflict with personal desires or social trends. This approach is comparable to the attitude of a wise patient who trusts the expertise of a physician. Such a patient understands that unpleasant medicine and restrictive treatment may be necessary for healing, even if they are uncomfortable or difficult to accept. Similarly, adherence to divine guidance requires patience and submission, with the understanding that it leads to long-term well-being, balance, and peace of mind in both worlds through maintaining a balanced mental and physical state, and by correctly placing everything and everyone within life. Allah, the Exalted, further condemns the irrational and baseless beliefs held by certain people who falsely claimed that the angels were His daughters. Chapter 52 at verse 39.
Or has He daughters while you have sons?
Many among those same people regarded daughters as inferior, and felt shame or resentment at the birth of a female child, while they preferred sons for themselves. Yet, despite this attitude, they attributed daughters to Allah, the Exalted, while reserving sons for themselves. Such a claim not only contradicts reason and fairness, but also demonstrates a complete lack of reverence for the Creator. In forming these false notions, they projected their own desires, social prejudices, and flawed values onto Allah, the Exalted. Rather than submitting to divine truth, they attempted to reshape the concept of the Creator to suit their personal inclinations. This reflects a broader human tendency to invent beliefs that align with convenience or cultural norms, instead of seeking guidance through sincere reflection and humility. In general, many people who believed in Allah, the Exalted, nevertheless attributed human weaknesses to him, such as tiredness or limitation. As a result, they imagined Allah, the Exalted, in the likeness of a worldly ruler. A worldly ruler cannot manage the affairs of his kingdom alone, and therefore appoints assistants and governors to oversee different matters. Based on this flawed comparison, such people assumed that Allah, the Exalted, also required intermediaries. This belief led them to worship other beings in an attempt to gain His pleasure, including angels. This misunderstanding has also appeared among some Muslims. Such individuals devote time, effort and wealth to seeking out people they regard as spiritually elevated, believing these individuals possess a special connection to Allah, the Exalted, similar to how a governor is connected to a king. Their aim is to please the spiritual figure, so that he may intercede on their behalf with Allah, the Exalted, just as a governor might intercede for someone who has gained his favor through gifts or exaggerated displays of respect and devotion. In this way, these figures are treated as intermediaries or gatekeepers between ordinary people and Allah, the Exalted, which fundamentally contradicts Islamic teachings. The Holy Prophets, peace be upon them, never acted as gatekeepers. Their role was to clearly show the path that leads to the pleasure of Allah, the Exalted, and to teach people how to follow it themselves. They never requested gifts, wealth, or special treatment in exchange for guidance. Therefore, a Muslim should seek Islamic knowledge from a qualified teacher and show due respect to them, but they should never believe that closeness to Allah, the Exalted, depends on pleasing or venerating any individual regarded as spiritual. Worship, reliance, and ultimate hope must be directed to Allah, the Exalted, alone. Allah, the Exalted, has complete authority and control over the entire universe, and is fully aware of everything that occurs within it. He is not burdened by the management of creation, and has no need for helpers or intermediaries. This reality is clearly stated in the Holy Quran. For example, chapter 2 Al-Baqarah, verse 186.
And when my servants ask you concerning me, indeed I am near. I respond to the invocation of the supplicant when he calls upon me.
And chapter 40 Ghafir, verse 60.
And your Lord says, call upon me, I will respond to you.
Chapter 2 Al-Baqarah, verse 255.
Who is it that can intercede with him except by his permission?
While intercession will occur on Judgment Day by the permission of Allah, the Exalted, it must not be misunderstood or mocked. Ridiculing the concept of intercession reflects complacency, where a person fails to use the blessings granted to them according to Islamic teachings, yet still expects salvation through someone else on Judgment Day, such as a family member or a spiritual guide. Even if intercession is granted, such complacency may not prevent punishment altogether, even if it is reduced. It must be clearly understood that even a brief moment in hell is unbearable. Therefore, true hope in intercession requires sincere effort and responsibility. This means using one's blessings in obedience to Allah, the Exalted, in accordance with the Holy Quran and the teachings of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, and then seeking intercession on Judgment Day. Only this balanced approach reflects sound belief, humility, and genuine reliance upon Allah, the Exalted. Allah, the Exalted, then criticizes those who persist in rejecting or neglecting the perfect divine code of conduct He has provided, despite the fact that adopting it carries no cost and brings benefit exclusively to those who follow it. Allah, the Exalted, makes it clear that His guidance is not offered in exchange for any worldly payment, nor does it impose any financial or personal burden upon people. Chapter 52 At-Tur, verse 40.
Or do you ask of them a payment, so they are by debt burdened down?
This verse exposes the baseless nature of their excuse. The message conveyed by the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, was delivered freely, without demanding wealth, status, or any form of compensation. Unlike worldly systems that often benefit a select few while burdening others, the divine code of conduct is purely for the welfare of humanity. In reality, the only cost involved is the restraint of harmful desires, and the willingness to live with discipline and moral responsibility. Far from being a loss, this discipline protects individuals from spiritual, mental, and social harm, while guiding them toward balance and inner peace. Those who reject this guidance cannot claim hardship or injustice, for nothing is taken from them. Instead, they deprive themselves of a path that leads to success, stability, and lasting fulfillment in both this world and the hereafter. By highlighting that no payment is demanded, Allah, the Exalted, removes every false justification for rejection. The refusal to follow divine guidance is therefore rooted not in burden or loss, but in arrogance, attachment to worldly desires, and an unwillingness to submit to what is ultimately in one's own best interest. Despite having no knowledge of future events or outcomes, those who reject or ignore divine guidance behave as though they are guaranteed peace of mind and success in both worlds by following their own man-made codes of conduct. This attitude is irrational, as human systems are inherently imperfect and incapable of accounting for unforeseen future events, changing circumstances, or hidden consequences. Chapter 52 at verse 41.
Or have they knowledge of the unseen, so they write it down?
This verse exposes the arrogance underlying such behavior. By acting as though their personal judgments or societal systems are sufficient for every situation, these individuals implicitly claim access to knowledge of the unseen, as if they can predict outcomes and determine what will ultimately lead to peace and success. In reality, human knowledge is limited to what is observed or experienced, and even this understanding is often incomplete or mistaken. As discussed earlier, divine guidance, by contrast, encompasses every possible situation and outcome that a person may face throughout life. It is rooted in the perfect knowledge of Allah, the Exalted, who alone knows what lies ahead and what truly benefits His creation in both the immediate and distant future. Those who abandon this guidance in favor of self-made systems are therefore placing their trust in speculation rather than certainty. Such reliance inevitably leads to anxiety, instability, and disappointment, as unforeseen trials expose the weaknesses of human reasoning and planning. This verse serves as a reminder that true peace of mind cannot be achieved by ignoring divine guidance and pretending to possess knowledge of the unseen. Lasting tranquility is found only in submission to the guidance of Allah, the Exalted, whose knowledge and wisdom extend beyond all limitations of time and circumstance. Allah, the Exalted, then reminds those who persist in rejecting or neglecting His guidance that, since He alone controls the affairs of the entire universe, their resources, strategies, and plans will never truly benefit them. Even if such plans appear successful on the surface, they will not lead to genuine peace of mind or lasting success in either world. Chapter 52 at verse 42.
Or do they intend a plan? But those who disbelieve, they are the object of a plan.
This verse highlights that no scheme devised in opposition to divine guidance can override the will of Allah, the Exalted. People may believe they are shaping their own outcomes through wealth, influence, or careful planning, yet they remain subject to a greater plan that they neither perceive nor control. Their apparent freedom and success may itself form part of a gradual process that leads them further away from guidance, without them realizing it. In general, a person who misuses the blessings granted to them should not deceive themselves into thinking that the absence of immediate punishment, or the failure to recognize it, means they will never be held accountable. In this world, such an attitude prevents a person from attaining a balanced mental and physical state, and causes them to misplace priorities, relationships, and responsibilities within their life. As a result, everything they possess, such as family, friends, career, and wealth, gradually becomes a source of stress rather than comfort. If disobedience to Allah, the Exalted, continues, such individuals often begin blaming the wrong people or circumstances for their inner turmoil, such as a spouse or close family members. When they distance themselves from those who are in fact sources of stability and support, their condition worsens. This frequently leads to increasing mental distress, emotional instability, and, in severe cases, depression, substance addiction, and even suicidal tendencies. This outcome is clearly observable among many who persist in misusing the blessings they have been given, including those who are wealthy or famous. Despite enjoying luxury and public admiration, they often lack inner peace and stability. Since their attitude prevents them from preparing for accountability on Judgment Day, their consequences in the hereafter will be far more severe. This verse therefore serves as a powerful warning that true success and safety lie only in obedience to Allah, the Exalted, and sincere adherence to His guidance. Allah the Exalted, then warns all people that any object of obedience apart from Him cannot protect them in this world or in the next from His control and authority. Chapter 52 at verse 43.
Or have they a deity other than Allah? Exalted is Allah above whatever they associate with Him.
It is important to recognize that false deities, such as idols, are not the only objects that can be worshipped or obeyed in opposition to Allah the Exalted. In reality, anything that a person prioritizes above obedience to Allah, whether social media, fashion, culture, or influential individuals, functions as an object of worship in their life. Chapter 9 at verse 31.
They have taken their scholars and monks as lords besides Allah.
Here, the scholars and religious leaders of the people of the book were not worshipped in themselves, yet obeying them in defiance of Allah the Exalted is counted as a form of worship. Similarly, obedience to the devil, even if not literal worship, is treated as allegiance in opposition to Allah the Exalted. Chapter 36 Yasin verse 60.
Did I not enjoin upon you, O children of Adam, that you not worship Satan, for indeed he is to you a clear enemy?
The majority of people do not consciously worship the devil, yet by yielding to his influences and acting contrary to Allah the Exalted, they effectively submit to him. This principle applies universally. Any form of obedience that contradicts Allah the Exalted amounts to indirect worship of whatever is being obeyed. Those who persist in disobedience inevitably find themselves under the influence of multiple forces, such as individuals, social media, fashion, culture, or employers. Attempting to satisfy these conflicting masters produces stress and frustration, as it is impossible to meet all their demands simultaneously. Just as an employee with multiple supervisors struggles to meet conflicting expectations, those who turn away from Allah, the Exalted, become burdened by numerous masters, ultimately sacrificing their peace of mind. Over time, this can lead to sadness, isolation, depression, and even thoughts of self-harm, as worldly pursuits fail to provide the satisfaction sought. This reality is clearly observable among those who prioritize worldly approval, including celebrities. Furthermore, obedience to anything that leads to the disobedience of Allah, the Exalted, carries no benefit in the hereafter. Those objects of allegiance cannot aid a person on Judgment Day, nor can they protect against divine recompense. To avoid such an outcome, an individual must abandon all forms of obedience that contradict Allah, the Exalted, and instead submit solely to Him. This involves correctly utilizing the blessings they have been granted in accordance with Islamic teachings. By doing so, a person attains peace of mind in both worlds, maintains a balanced mental and physical state, and places everything and everyone in their life in its proper context. Allah, the Exalted, then criticizes those who fail to learn lessons from the events within their own lives and from the occurrences around them, which serve as clear signs pointing to the need to return to Allah, the Exalted, in obedience. Chapter 52 at verse 44.
And if they were to see a fragment from the sky falling, they would say, "It is merely clouds heaped up."
This verse warns against adopting a self-absorbed mindset, where attention is limited to personal circumstances, while ignoring the greater realities that surround them. Such a narrow perspective blinds the heart from recognizing the lessons that can be drawn from history, personal trials, and the experiences of others. Observing and reflecting upon these lessons is one of the most reliable means of refining character, avoiding repeated errors, and attaining lasting inner peace, through obtaining a balanced mental and physical state, and through correctly placing everything and everyone within their life. For instance, witnessing how the wealthy and famous misuse the blessings they have been granted, only to be overtaken by anxiety, depression, addiction, or even suicide despite their comforts, demonstrates that true tranquility cannot be purchased with wealth nor secured through unrestrained desires. Similarly, observing someone struggling with illness should inspire gratitude for one's own health and motivate its proper use before it is lost. Islam therefore calls people to remain mindful, reflective, and perceptive, encouraging them to look beyond the narrow lens of their immediate circumstances and to extract wisdom from the broader world. By doing so, individuals cultivate insight, strengthen their obedience to Allah, the Exalted, and establish balance and peace in their mental, physical, and social life. As Allah, the Exalted, does not compel people to follow the right guidance, since forcing obedience would nullify the test of life in this world, He presents the divine code of conduct with clear and compelling evidence to all people, allowing them the freedom to choose their path. Nevertheless, He holds them accountable in both worlds for the choices they make. Chapter 52 at verse 45.
So leave them until they meet their day in which they will be struck insensible.
Those who persist in disobeying Allah, the Exalted, by misusing the blessings they have been granted, will find that their worldly successes offer them no true benefit or protection. Chapter 52 at verse 46.
The day their plan will not avail them at all, nor will they be helped.
The consequences of disobedience are not limited to the hereafter. They are often reflected in the present life as well. Individuals who misuse their blessings will experience imbalance in their mental and physical state, misplace priorities, and fail to prepare adequately for their accountability on the Day of Judgment. This neglect produces stress, hardship, and discontent in both worlds, even if they possess worldly comforts or luxuries. Chapter 52 at verse 47.
And indeed, for those who have wronged is a punishment before that, but most of them do not know.
This verse serves as a reminder that the consequences of misusing blessings are apparent even in this life, though many remain unaware of them. True security, balance, and peace of mind are attainable only through sincere obedience to Allah, the Exalted, by correctly employing the blessings one has received in accordance with Islamic teachings. By doing so, a person cultivates stability in both mental and physical states, places everything and everyone in its proper context, and prepares effectively for the ultimate accountability on the Day of Judgment. When a person chooses a path that differs from that of their peers, it can provoke feelings of inadequacy or discomfort in others, especially if those others prioritize personal desires over obedience to Allah, the Exalted. Such feelings often manifest as criticism directed at those who steadfastly uphold their faith, sometimes even from family members or close associates. Societal influences, including social media, fashion trends, and prevailing cultural norms, exert additional pressure on individuals who adhere to Islamic values. The promotion of Islam is frequently perceived as an obstacle to worldly ambitions, such as wealth, prestige, or social status. Industries or social systems that Islam critiques often actively discourage adherence to Islamic principles, fostering widespread anti-Islamic sentiments observable across platforms like social media, entertainment, and public discourse. Furthermore, those striving to follow Islamic teachings, which advocate moderation in desires and the responsible use of blessings, often encounter opposition from individuals who act on impulses without restraint, behaving in ways that Islam describes as animalistic. These individuals may seek to dissuade others from embracing Islam or practicing its guidance, attempting to entice them into a lifestyle dominated by unchecked desires. Criticism frequently targets specific aspects of Islamic practice, such as the dress code for women, in an effort to undermine the faith's appeal. Yet, perceptive observers can see the superficiality of such arguments. While these critics object to Islamic dress requirements, they rarely scrutinize the uniforms and codes of conduct in fields like law enforcement, the military, healthcare, education, or business. This selective criticism highlights the fragility of their reasoning, revealing that the true source of their opposition is Islam's emphasis on discipline and self-restraint. In all circumstances, a person must maintain unwavering commitment to sincere obedience to Allah, the Exalted, understanding that such dedication ensures protection from the negative influence of others, even if this protection is not immediately visible. Chapter 52 at verse 48.
And be patient for the decision of your Lord, for indeed you are in our eyes.
This loyalty enables a person to make proper use of the blessings granted to them, cultivating a harmonious mental and physical state. It allows them to organize all aspects of their life and relationships correctly, while preparing for accountability on the Day of Judgment. By doing so, they attain tranquility in both worlds. Such steadfast obedience ensures they are rightly guided in every circumstance, whether in times of ease or hardship, strengthening their peace of mind and securing boundless rewards in both this life and the hereafter. In addition, as mentioned earlier, those who remain firm in obeying Allah, the Exalted, will inevitably encounter difficulties. An essential aspect of patience is glorifying Allah, the Exalted, which entails not attributing anything negative to Him, even when facing trials. Chapter 52 at verse 48.
And glorify.
Glorifying Allah, the Exalted, in this way requires cultivating a positive mindset. A positive mindset is a vital tool for navigating challenges while maintaining obedience to Allah, the Exalted. Such obedience includes using the blessings He has bestowed in ways that are pleasing to Him, as outlined in the Holy Quran and the teachings of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. When confronted with hardships, individuals should recognize that their situation could have been far worse. If the difficulty pertains to worldly matters, they should be grateful that their faith remains intact. Instead of dwelling on the immediate sorrow associated with a trial, one should focus on the ultimate reward that awaits those who exercise patience for the sake of Allah, the Exalted. In cases of loss or deprivation, a person should reflect on the blessings that remain. Every trial contains hidden wisdom and benefits that may not be immediately apparent. Chapter 2 Al-Baqarah, verse 216.
But perhaps you hate a thing and it is good for you, and perhaps you love a thing and it is bad for you. And Allah knows while you know not.
By contemplating these truths, a person strengthens their ability to maintain a positive outlook and properly glorify Allah, the Exalted, avoiding any attribution of negativity to Him. Chapter 52 at verse 48.
And glorify with praise of your Lord when you arise.
Gratitude toward Allah, the Exalted, for His countless and continuous blessings is the upright and fair response. Gratitude can be expressed through intention, meaning acting solely to please Allah, the Exalted, through speech, meaning speaking good or choosing silence, and through action, meaning using the blessings one has received in ways that are pleasing to Allah, the Exalted, as described in the Holy Quran and the teachings of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. Practicing gratitude in this manner brings additional blessings, tranquility, and success in both this world and the hereafter. It allows a person to achieve balance in their mental and physical state, and to correctly position everything and everyone within their life, ensuring that each aspect of their existence contributes to lasting peace and well-being. Chapter 14 Ibrahim, verse 7.
If you are grateful, I will surely increase you in favor.
Glorifying Allah, the Exalted, includes acts of worship, among which the voluntary night prayer holds a special significance. Chapter 52 at verse 49.
And in a part of the night exalt Him, and after the retreating of the stars.
Performing voluntary night worship demonstrates sincerity toward Allah, the Exalted, as it is done when no other eyes are observing. It serves as an intimate form of communication with Allah, the Exalted, and is a clear sign of a person's servanthood to Him. This form of worship carries immense virtue. For instance, a hadith found in Sunan an-Nasai, number 1614, advises that it is the best form of voluntary prayer. The highest rank in both paradise and on the Day of Judgment is reserved exclusively for the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. This rank is directly associated with the voluntary night prayer, indicating that those who establish this practice are blessed with elevated ranks in both worlds. Chapter 17 Al-Isra, verse 79.
And from part of the night pray with it, i.e. recitation of the Quran as additional worship for you. It is expected that your Lord will resurrect you to a praise station.
A hadith found in Jami at Tirmidhi, number 3579, further emphasizes that a person is closest to Allah, the Exalted, in the last part of the night. Therefore, remembering Allah, the Exalted, at this time brings countless blessings and spiritual elevation. Since every person seeks their supplications to be answered and their needs fulfilled, establishing the voluntary night prayer is highly recommended. A hadith found in Sahih Muslim, number 1770, notes that there is a special hour in every night when sincere supplications are always answered. Beyond spiritual benefits, the voluntary night prayer helps prevent sin, encourages one to avoid pointless social gatherings, and protects against various physical ailments, as mentioned in a hadith found in Jami at Tirmidhi, number 3549. To prepare for the voluntary night prayer, a person should avoid overeating or excessive drinking before sleep, as these can induce laziness. They should also avoid unnecessary exhaustion during the day, as physical fatigue can hinder night worship. A brief daytime nap can help maintain energy for the night prayer. Additionally, avoiding sin and striving to obey Allah, the Exalted, by fulfilling His commands, refraining from His prohibitions, and facing destiny with patience according to the teachings of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, makes it easier to establish and benefit from the voluntary night prayer. Through this practice, a person strengthens their connection with Allah, the Exalted, cultivates self-discipline, and prepares themselves for success and tranquility in both worlds. In conclusion, a person must accept and act upon Islamic teachings for their own benefit, even when doing so contradicts personal desires. They should behave like a wise patient who follows the advice of a physician, fully aware that the prescribed bitter medicines and strict diet serve their well-being. Just as the patient achieves improved mental and physical health by adhering to the doctor's guidance, so too will the person who embraces and implements Islamic teachings experience balance in mind, body, and life. This is because only Allah, the Exalted, possesses the comprehensive knowledge necessary to ensure that a person attains a balanced mental and physical state and correctly places everything and everyone within their life. Human knowledge, whether in medicine, psychology, or social sciences, remains limited. Society's advice cannot prevent all forms of mental or physical stress, nor can it guarantee that a person will organize their life in the most beneficial way, due to limitations in knowledge, experience, foresight, and inherent biases. Only Allah, the Exalted, holds this perfect knowledge and has conveyed it to humanity through the Holy Quran and the traditions of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. This truth becomes evident when observing those who follow Islamic guidance, compared with those who ignore it. Unlike medical prescriptions, which are often followed blindly, Allah, the Exalted, invites people to reflect upon the teachings of Islam, to understand their benefits and recognize their truth through clear proofs. Acceptance of this guidance requires an unbiased and open mind, allowing the person to appreciate its positive influence on their life. Chapter 12 Yusuf, verse 108.
Say, this is my way, I invite to Allah with insight, I and those who follow me.
Furthermore, as the ultimate controller of human hearts, the true abode of peace of mind, Allah, the Exalted, alone determines who attains tranquility and who does not. Chapter 53 and Name, verse 43.
And that it is He who makes one laugh and weep.
It is evident that peace of mind is granted only to those who utilize the blessings Allah, the Exalted, has given them in the correct manner, as outlined in Islamic teachings. By following these teachings sincerely, individuals align themselves with divine guidance, achieving inner harmony, clarity of judgment, and lasting success in both this world and the hereafter. Chapter 16 and now, verse 97.
Whoever does righteousness, whether male or female, while he is a believer, we will surely cause him to live a good life, and we will surely give them their reward in the hereafter according to the best of what they used to do.
All praise is due to Allah, Lord of the worlds, and may peace and blessings be upon His final messenger, Muhammad, his noble family and companions.